So Road to UFC is going to be coming up in just about a month's time, and I did want to make a little bit more of an informative video talking about the matchups and talking about what Road to UFC really is all about. This isn't really necessarily going to be a prediction video, and I do know that I made a relatively similar video just talking about the fighters that were on the roster, but now we do finally have the official matchups as well as all of the bonus fights as well, which I will talk about in this video. So as I said, it's probably not really going to be a prediction video. I will give early leans, but to be honest, I haven't really researched this, but I am going to give you just an idea on who I think is going to win. This is more just letting you know what Road to UFC is, how you can watch it, and what it really is all about, because I do think that this is quite an exciting kind of idea. A lot of people love Dana White's Contender Series, and I'm even seeing some people thinking that Dana White's Contender Series should happen more often. Well, this is kind of Dana White's Contender Series right here, except it is for fighters from Asia. Obviously, the UFC is trying to sign more fighters from Asia, and the way that they are doing that is with these tournaments here. And what they do is they have 8-person tournaments over multiple weight classes over a few months period of time, and obviously the winner of those tournaments in every single weight class does end up getting signed to the UFC. I think the fighter that has had the most success out of that tournament probably is Rinya Nakamura, but of course there are quite a few other fighters, like I believe Hyun Sang Park is on there and he's undefeated, taking on Andre Lima soon. So there is a lot of fighters that have had success coming out of this tournament. And this year, they have also been doing bonus fights, and these bonus fights do act like Dana White's Contender Series fights, although not too many fighters have been signed directly from these. I do wish that more did happen, to be honest, because I do think, or more signings happen, because I do think they do have some pretty high-level fighters there. But let's talk about it and how you can watch it and when it is. The first night is going to be May the 18th, and it's going to be on at 6 a.m. Eastern Time, so it will be on in prime time in Asia. Quite late at night for me in New Zealand, but 6 a.m. in the morning Eastern Time for episodes 1 and episodes 2 is going to be taking place at 9 a.m. on May the 18th. Episode 3 will be taking place at 6 a.m. May the 19th, and then of course episode 4 will be taking place 9 a.m. May the 19th, and on that same day is going to be Edson Barboza taking on Lerone Murphy in this event here. So the morning of the fights, you've got extra fights, and then also the morning after the fights, you've got extra fights to watch. So let's kind of just quickly break down episode 1. It's going to feature some featherweights as well as some women's strawweights. And this is the first time that female fighters have been on the show, and I actually think that the winner of women's strawweight is going to be fighting on this card. I do predict Zhao Kang Feng to win the whole thing. I think she is going to win the whole tournament. She does seem to be the fighter with the most experience against the most high-level competition, and more importantly, she's actually already beaten quite a few fighters that are already in the tournament. I believe Miki Matono is also on the tournament. She's fighting on the same card. She's beaten Fei Huang, who's also fighting on the same card. She's already fought these girls and she's already beaten these girls, so you've kind of got a little bit to go off there. The bonus fight of this night is going to be Bahati Boli Bati Balati taking on Han Xiao Kim. I'm a little bit torn on this one because my opinion on Han Xiao Kim has kind of changed a lot since he did get beaten up pretty bad by Taiyalaki Naraji. And in full truthfulness, I don't think Bahati Boli's that good. In fact, he was actually meant to compete last year, but I think he pulled out due to missing weight or something like that. So now he's going to be fighting at 170, which I guess is somewhat interesting. Han Xiao Kim, I was pretty high on him. I thought that he was going to beat Taiyalaki Naraji, and we know that how that went because Taiyalaki absolutely smoked him. But he beat John Adajar, and Don Adajar is no bum whatsoever. I thought he looked incredible in that matchup, but then pretty bad against Taiyalaki. Han Xiao Kim's one of TKZ's prospects, but I think that, yeah, it'd be interesting because Bahati Boli, although I don't think he's that good, he just keeps winning. He did win by DQ against Won Bin Ki after getting knocked out, so kind of interesting, and you could say he robbed Ryan Leninger, but there's a lot going on in that matchup. I also do think that the winner of the 145-pound men's division is going to be on this card as well. I think Shin Haraguchi coming down to 145 pounds, this is the best move for his career in my opinion. Haraguchi is a world-class wrestler. We saw that last year, but he was fighting at 155, and this guy is tiny. I genuinely think he could probably make 135. I love the move to 145. It's definitely more of his natural weight class. He was way outmatched in the size against Rongzhu, even though I did still kind of have some hope that he could get it done there. I think you're going to see Shin Haraguchi have a lot of success in his wrestling in featherweight. I'm very interested by this one here, though, because the winner very much could come out of this fight. Tatsuya Ando has fought some very high-level competitors and has fought for one championship in the past as well. This guy has beaten good guys. He's been pretty inactive, though, which is a bit of a shame. And Kanchi Zhu, 18-4 record out of China, a lot of experience, not the best levels of competition, to be fair, but we've seen guys from China like Zhu Rong with a lot of experience go out there and win this tournament. So it'll be interesting to see how that goes. That's the first episode. The second episode, I think it's also going to be quite fun. Hua Shandong, I heard a rumor that she had actually signed to the UFC, but then obviously maybe that wasn't the case, and now she's been on this road to UFC tournament. She's definitely another fighter to look forward to, a very good wrestler out of China. Kong Wang, I think, is also a fighter to look forward to, because I think she's a former kickboxer with a win over Valentina Shevchenko in kickboxing. So she's definitely got high-level kickboxing experience, and she has been winning a lot of MMA fights since she's come over. I think that she should be able to find a finish over her opponent here in Paula Luna, and I think if she does get finished, I think the UFC isn't going to waste time with Kong Wang, and I think they are going to sign her straight up, which could be quite cool. Binji versus Hamid Amiri is a very interesting fight I'm looking forward to. I actually am going to side with Binji to defeat Hamid Amiri. I'm just not too sold on this level of competition this guy's been fighting, man. Like, I just don't know. He's been fighting since he was like 16 years old, which is kind of crazy, but Binji's been in there with some good guys. Arguably beat Olivia Murad on the Contender Series. Lost to Zhang Yang Li, but Zhang Yang Li ended up winning the whole thing. Another guy that's had success from this road to UFC. And yeah, he's been fighting all around the place after that. I think we're going to see Binji maybe have a pretty good performance. So that's going to be the first day. May the 18th is when those matchups are going to be. Then May the 13th also is going to have who I think is going to be the champion of 135 pounds. I'm going to be predicting Dairemisi Zawupasi to win the whole tournament here at bantamweight. I do think his wrestling is going to be too much for all of these guys. He's like the Khamzat Chimaev of Chinese bantamweight. That's kind of how he fights, man. He shoots for takedowns. He was having success against Chang Ho Lee, but then he gassed out. I think he's going to learn from that. I think he's going to improve. I think we're going to see Dairemisi Zawupasi go up there with his offensive wrestling. I think he is going to be able to get past Reno Zaki, who just isn't a very experienced guy. Seems like a young striker. Zawupasi is going to use that wrestling and take him down early. I'm going to go Dairemisi to win the whole thing. And then for flyweight, which is also the other weight class on here, I think Angad Bisht has a very good chance of winning it all. You know, this guy has fought the best of the best that there is in India. I do think he is going to get past his first round opponent in John Dave Almanza. Shohei Noze is another guy to keep your eye out for bantamweight. Very, very wicked grappler. I mean, this guy could submit anybody, honestly, on the right night. And Junior Ishii is a talented striker with good takedown defense, good takedown offense as well, and he actually made it all the way to the finals. But unfortunately for him, he did run into the absolute powerhouse that is Ray Saruya. And if he can get past Carlos Hernandez in his UFC debut on the McGregor card, Ray Saruya, he's going to be another guy from Japan to look out for, just like you've got the other fighter who's fighting Josh Van, whose name just keeps on slipping my mind, Tatsuro Taira. Ray Saruya fights just like him. The bonus fight on this one is between two massive lightweights, Wonbin Ki and Tetsuya Saika, who are going to try and knock each other out. Wonbin Ki is absolutely massive. He wants to fight Justin Gaethje. He called out Justin Gaethje, which is kind of funny after I think he knocked out Jinosuke Kashimura. It must have been who he knocked out, and then he called out Justin Gaethje, but then he got KO'd himself. This guy's massive for lightweight. I would love to see him in the UFC. I think he would be a lot of fun, but Tetsuya Saika is a guy with a lot of KOs in the very first round. Had a little bit of a run and rise and that didn't quite work out, but if someone impresses with a first round knockout in this matchup, I think you could definitely see the winner of this fight potentially being signed to the UFC. That's kind of my quick breakdown for round number 3, episode number 3. And then as for flyweight, the winner of flyweight, I think it's going to come down to quite a few fighters. I actually think the winner of this fight has a good chance of winning the whole thing. But I also am a little bit of a believer in Junior Ishii to win it all. I think I predicted earlier. Junior Ishii is a flyweight, not a bantamweight, as I was talking about before. I'm a little bit of an idiot. It's either going to come down to Angad Bisht, Junior Ishii, or, in my opinion, Shuai Yin or Kiro Sahota. Like, that's 4 fighters to talk about, and I'm going to go out on a bit of a limb, and I'm going to pick Jin Yushi to win the whole thing, but I do not feel very confident. I think the flyweight division this year is very, very stacked, and I think a lot of people are picking Choi to defeat Jin Yushi in that first round, so that could be a really bad pick. But that's my pick, man. I mean, I don't know. I've been pretty good at predicting the whole thing. In the past, you know, I did pick Lee Kai-Wen to win it all. He made it to the finals. I picked Shin Haraguchi to win it all. He made it to the finals, but he didn't win. I don't know. And I think I've picked a lot of people that have won it all, is what I'm trying to say. But man, I don't feel good about this one. The bonus fight is a woman's flyweight fight, which the winner of definitely should get a UFC contract. It's kind of funny because Lisa Koriakawa is actually from a similar area to me. Of course, I live in New Zealand. Australia is just a flight away, really. It's not that far away. And I'm not that familiar with her, to be honest with you. I am familiar with Kihi Yan. She's a very good grappler. Took a lot of time away after losing to Karine Silva, which isn't a bad loss anymore because Karine Silva is ranked right now. Defeated a debuting girl, and then Miao Ding, who's a bit of a staple of women's Chinese fighting, a few months ago. So it'll be interesting. Whoever wins this one, I think, is going to get into the UFC, especially if it's Kihi Yan, because that 25-4 record, if she gets the win, is going to look pretty crazy. But I don't know. I think it'll be interesting to see, as Kihi Yan's most of her experience is really against not the best competition. She did give Karine Silva a pretty decent fight for what it's worth, so it'll be interesting to see kind of how that fight works out. As for the flyweights, I feel like flyweight is absolutely stacked. As I did say before, I don't think that the winner of the bantamweights is going to be on this card. I do think the winner of the bantamweights is probably going to come in the form of Daemi Zawipasi. But aside from bantamweight, Tokitaka Nakanishi is a great fighter as well. Beijing Chiniyasili is also a great fighter, and he made it pretty far. No, he didn't, sorry. He lost to Shuya Kamakubo, but after that, he's had a lot of success because he took on a pretty decent fighter in Xavier Alaoui, who I think is going to be on the Ultimate Fighter next. So, Beijing GLC, a guy to look out for. Shuai Yin is a guy that I was very high on last year, but unfortunately he did lose to another prospect in China. And then Kiro Sahota, I believe, is obviously got some sort of Asian descent. I believe he's got Indian descent. I could be incorrect about that, but he does train in England and has got a lot of experience over in England. He's got a fight for Cage Warriors, which he lost to Sean Marcos da Silva, but he's quite good. Be interesting to see how it works out. A lot of people, I think, are picking Sahota to win that one, but I think Yin's got a pretty good chance. I don't know. But yeah, my pick to win it all at 125, I am just going to go and I'm going to pick it as Junior Ishii. My pick for 135, I'm going to go out and pick Daemi Zawipasi. My pick for 145, I'm going to go out and pick Shin Haraguchi. And then for women's strawweight, I'm going to pick Xiao Kang Feng. Let me know what you think of that quick breakdown and informative video of the road to UFC. It's all been confirmed now, so hopefully you guys watch, and it should be on Road to UFC. Should be on UFC Fight Pass, sorry. With that being said, I'll just see you guys in the next video.